Okay. Hi, everyone. Am I audible properly? Can someone just give me a thumbs up on the chat? Okay, great. So before I begin, before I start with the presentation, before I start with the webinar, I would really like to know who am I talking to, who are all the people who have joined in. Can you just write in one sentence or, just like what do you do? What's your current profession? And if there is any specific not requirement, a specific kind of an idea that you have about this webinar. So mainly I need to know like what all do you guys do? So can I see that on the chat box? Okay, great. So I'm audible properly. Okay. So there's somebody who has an interior company. Okay, great. Dropper for JE. Okay. Interior design student. All right. So we have architects, we have interior designers, civil engineers. Great. For all you all who are in the construction industry, let me tell you, if you're trying to just think of a career in interior design, you have come to the right place. So I'll be taking you through everything what happens in interior design. So what you see from the outside, what you see while you are kind of in your college, in your school, it's completely different from how things happen in the industry. So that's what we're going to be talking about. It's very good to see so many people who are from this background. So there are many people who are working as interior designers, who are working on interior sites. Okay, that's great, great, great. Okay, super. So I really like the energy on the chat box. I hope this remains throughout the webinar. And trust me, if I am here today and if you have any questions regarding interior design, it would be beneficial for you. And again, very beneficial for all of us who have joined. If you put your questions forward and we make this an interactive session. So I'll just share my screen where we can talk about the webinar. All right. Is the screen visible, guys? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay. So basically, when we talk about interior design, what generally happens is we have this idea about, how we can be very good people in, we are very good at drawing, we are very good at color selection, we are very good at, creating so many 3D models, we are good with technical things. But interior design, if you are an interior designer, one thing that you need to know is how to actually run a business. Because if you want to turn your life around and you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to be a freelancer in interior design, you have to cater to so many other aspects, not just the drawing part, not just the technical aspect. There is so much more that goes into it. You need to be very thorough from start to the end, like what are the steps that you are going to follow, what are the various elements that you need to work at. Can you guys access the screen? I'll just see if this is some problem. I can see some annotation happening. Guys, please don't try and write on the screen if that's possible, right? Okay, sorry. So this webinar is basically where we talk about freelancing and entrepreneurship. And so before I start with all the teaching, I start with all the options that you should know about. There is something that you need to know, like who am I? Who am I to teach you all of this? And why should you take out 2 hours of your precious time and listen to me? So basically, when we talk about me specifically, I am this person who wanted to be an interior designer from the very beginning. So I have a bachelor's in interior design. I completed my bachelor's in 2018 from Pearl Academy, Delhi. So this was called Interior Architecture and Design. After that, I immediately started working as a freelancer. You can say I got lucky. I had friends and families who had, small little projects. So the first project I did was a simple wall design. It was just one wall that needed to be designed, but it was a big kick for me because once I designed that one wall for one relative, I started getting leads from other people because they saw something, they wanted to explore this idea of hiring an interior designer. So this was back in 2018. After that, I pursued my MA in interior design from Paris College of Art, France. So I was in Paris for a year. I worked on sites there. I was working, with the alumni. I was there for 1 year. And after that, ever since, I've been working as a freelancer. And if I talk about today, I have completed over 70 projects. I have taken, so this is all single handedly, this is all as a freelancer. I do not have, an office. So I have been working, online. So all the projects I've done, all the things that I am doing yet is just the part of how I started my journey online. And I understood the kind of work people were doing. I understood how to pitch my work, how to kind of gain attention from people and clients. And eventually it started flowing. So what happens in interior design is, when you start working, after one project, if you have done well, you are bound to gain more leads out of that. So according to what we have in today's webinar, what are we going to cover? So we are going to be talking about how do interior designers work. So I will take you through one or two of my projects. I'll show you how we started and how we finished the projects, what challenges are there, what are the things that go behind it. Then the second part, which is very important, like how should you pitch your work? So you being a person who is just starting off, or if you are a student, if you have just graduated, how do you pitch your work to the clients and how do you get work? Then explore various career paths and specializations. Now, in today's world, if you just say you are an interior designer, that's fine. But if you have a specific niche, if you are a part of a very specific group, that makes it easier for you, that makes you more prominent in the market. So that's something that we are going to explore in depth. So what are the various career paths that you can choose within interior design? Then comes your portfolio building, like how should you plan your portfolio and how should you showcase your work? Then again, what tools do designers use, and other aspects like networking and professional development and business aspects of design. And lastly, we'll have an interactive Q&A. You can ask me any questions you want. So hold your horses for like a few minutes, and then later on you can ask me as many questions as you want, right? Then, so the platform who's hosting this webinar for you. So we are called Augmintech. So this is an ISO certified company. We have trained more than 15,000 professionals, all from the construction industry only. We have students based in more than 50 countries. So, well, I take classes online for so many students already through Augmintech, and many of them come from UAE, come from Australia. So there's a vast range of students. And also we train students and working professionals specifically in construction and building industry, which means we have courses related to HVAC, interior design, and much more. So I'm not going to bore you with that right now. Okay. So first thing I need to ask you all. So this is a question that I need you all to answer for me. Interior design is all about creating beautiful spaces. Do you agree? If you agree, say yes and tell me why. If you do not agree, tell me why don't you agree. So this is a conversation that we need to have. Guys, no, yes or no. I also need some explanation. So why are you saying no? Why I should say? Okay. So has said that no, it should be functional as well. Okay. Who else? Okay, let me give you a minute to everybody just to type down. See, typing is the most convenient way of answering any questions. I remember back in the day, we did not have this opportunity. We always had to raise our hands and stand and tell the teacher, okay, this is the answer. But here we are talking as conversationalists. And if you give me what you think, we can actually build up a conversation on that and we can gain out of that, right? So we have 50 people here and I have only 2 answers. So I'm waiting for you all. Okay, Vaishali has written interior designing is about creating beautiful spaces and functional also. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody who agrees with this? Anybody who agrees that yes, interior design is all about creating beautiful spaces? Okay, Sadab agrees. Jagdish also agrees. Okay, great. Prachi agrees. Okay, we have a big answer also. Let me read some of the answers. Not only spaces, but useful spaces. Anyways, making the best. Okay. Focus on creating beautiful spaces. Okay, okay, okay. Hmm. Okay, very thoughtful answers. Okay, great. Okay, yeah, I think yes, it is about creating beautiful spaces, but guys, that's not it. Interior design is actually, it's an art, but it's also the science of enhancing the interior of a space. It might sound like, itna kuch to nahi hota hai, it's not that big of a deal, but yes, the space you live in, the space a human being inhabits, take so much within. So whenever you are living in a so and so space, the feelings you have, the kind of emotions you perceive, the kind of peace you achieve in a certain space, that really affects the lifestyle, that really affects how people live. So your work is not just to create beautiful spaces. It involves a space where you have to think of a healthier environment. You have to think about the users. You have to think about furniture arrangements. You have to think about decor styles. There is so much more. So yes, the end product could be a beautiful space, but what goes behind it is much more important. So if you create a space which is very beautiful but very uncomfortable, very dark and dingy, whoever gets inside the space feels a little bit uncomfortable, or they're not happy with it. So there's no point of doing that, right? So interior design, if you by now, if you think that it's about, yeah, so see, Arslan has written that interior design is all about how we experience spaces. Yes, this is the most important aspect of it. So even if you're thinking about concepts, you're thinking about storytelling, you're thinking about how the space visualizes, but the main part is when you enter a space, how do you feel? So when you enter let's say you enter a club and you enter a coffee shop, the experience is completely different, right? The experience is because of the interior design of that space. Because initially, if you give somebody a space, it's just a building, people can convert it into either a restaurant, either a hotel, or whatever. But the interior of it, whatever has been done inside, changes everything. So the experience creation is the most important aspect of interior design. It's not just about beautiful spaces. So I hope we have cleared that. Okay, so coming straight to the point, the most important aspect that we're going to talk about today is like, how do interior designers work? What's the start to end process? And how does that work within the sites also? Okay, so what happens is, the first thing is that will happen for you or anybody else is that you get a query. It could be a query from a friend. It could be from a relative. So maybe one of your relatives know that you are studying architecture, you're studying interior design. They might call you up and say, okay, Sagrika, what I'm doing is I'm planning a new house. Can you help me with this room? Could be a question. So first of all, we need to understand the requirements of the client. So now this person who has called me and who's asking me for my help, I just need to understand what is their requirement. Okay, so yes, okay, you want to design your bedroom. Can you tell me who is this bedroom for? How many people are going to stay here? So you'll ask them, certain questions. Now, this is important. Why? Because first thing, you eventually need to know all of this. You need to know all of these elements because, you are this person who's going to be designing. So, secondly, if you also ask them questions, you make them confident. If you ask them, okay, what is this? What is that? That means they'll have this confidence in you that you are asking the right questions. You are kind of creating an idea of what space are you building, even in the first call. Then comes your site visit. So, secondly, when you visit a site, what happens is you will have to ask about, or look for, what is the site look like. So, is it a building? Is it a plot? Is it just a renovation project? Is it something which is already built and needs just slight changes? So, all of those things you need to understand. If you look at this picture right here, this is basically, so Narayan, can you please stop doing this? It's very disturbing and very childish, to be very honest. Okay, so first of all, we go to the site and we understand what are the various things that we see there. So let's say this is the site image that I see, and I see that there are so many beams and columns. I see this is how my site looks like right now. So it has no ceiling, it has no, nothing is there. So it's a raw site. So we need to, so why do we visit sites? We need to understand these constraints. So when you visit any site, or you visit any place where you're trying to figure out, your design, this is your first clue. So once you enter the space, like for me, this is the space. If I entered, I already started imagining, so what are the things that I want to do here? So it could be an eye opener for you. So maybe there is a space for a large window, maybe there is a large structural element going on. So you have to start figuring out if you are going to hide it, or you're going to show it, or how are you going to deal with the height. So this is the most important aspect. So the first site visit decides so many things. It decides whether, let's say somebody comes to you and they tell you, I have this 10 by 10 room and I want to make it into a commercial cafe with with along with a kitchen. Now, being a designer, only you can understand there are so many things that need to be put here. Client might come and say, I need 20 people to be sitting here, because they are like, ho jayega, we can add more tables, we can add more chairs. But you have to understand if that's going to work or not. So the first site visit tells you even if this is a viable project or not. So if somebody tells you that they need to build a 3 BHK floor, you need to figure out if they have the enough area according to their requirements. So that is something that should happen in the first site visit. So once you go to the site visit, your all your senses should be open. So you should be able to hear everything, listen everything, see everything, and grasp everything you can. Maybe if they are planning, let's say if they are planning a beautiful restaurant by on the site, and you see that when you enter the site, you see there's a weird smell coming out of somewhere, or there is no ventilation, or something which is very major problem. It could be a major problem later on. So all of those things we need to figure out. So this is the most important aspect. Then comes concept development. Now, concept development is basically ideation. Now, you as a designer, if you have understood the site, you have heard the client. So the client comes to you and they tell you, okay, this is my requirement, this is my space. So they have given you everything that you needed, right? So they have given you the site, they have given you, this is the brief, this is what I want to do. Now your ideas start to come together. Now either you can collect images, you can do sketches, you can start to if you are good with sketches, if you're good with drawings, you'll start doing that. If you're good with Photoshop, collecting images, you'll start collecting images and try to build a concept out of it. So how I generally do it is that if I have a space like this, I'll start to figure out in my head, what do I want to do here? How can I add certain elements? I'll start to figure out if I want to add some element, I'll start to sketch it. So this is the kind of a rough sketch that comes out of the concept development phase. Now, this concept development is totally up to you. This is also something which is going to kind of make it or break it for you. So the concept development, the first thing that you're thinking, this is something that you also have to present to the client. So either you can make a presentation, you can do a series of sketches, you can actually create drawings for them, you can create collages for them. So now this is the first impression that you're giving to the client. They have trusted you, they have shown you the client, they have they have shown you the site, they have given you everything that they think they should give you. Now it is your part. So this is the first thing you are doing. So when you're developing your concept, once you have all the ideas, maybe you are a brilliant designer and you have amazing ideas in your head, but you should be able to translate that. You should be able to translate that either through presentations or through sketches or whatever medium you think is good for you. You can also create models. So all of this you are already doing, must be doing in your schools, so in your colleges, if you are in this course. But this is something that also works even if you are a 100 crore company working with high-end luxury clients. You still have to do the concept development and you still have to do the presentations. So this part that you are working on in your college time, this period is very important. So once you start developing those concepts and you bring in a presentation which is very exciting, then the project will go on. Otherwise, at this stage, many a times things start to go haywire. It starts to, the client might start to lose interest, or maybe you have given him something that they did not expect at all. So you really need to think about the client consultation part first. You need to understand everything and then deliver your concept. Okay, do we have a question? Tanya, I didn't get you attendance available. Do you mean, what do you mean by that? Okay. Now, the second part that we have, okay, wait a minute, I'll just remove all of this. How do I remove these arrows? These are really annoying me. Mm-mm-mm. Is there an eraser? Okay, works. Fine. Okay, now that we have understood the concept, now sometimes see, this is not hard and fast that you have to do the concept first and then do the space planning. It is totally up to all the people who work. So sometimes we do the space planning first and then we do the concept. And at times, just by seeing the site, designers have a very good idea about what they want to do. So they develop the concept first and simultaneously they do the space planning. Now, this aspect is also very, very important. Now, what happens generally is if you look at residential design, you might find that most of the times the furniture layout is given. So it is given by the either the architect or by the builder, or it is something which is very rigid. So it's already there on site. But even then, you have to plan the space according to you. Why am I saying that is because sometimes we believe that the architect has done a good job and we have, a great layout. So this is what I'm going to work for. But in case you want to do something creative or you're looking for, a design that matches the aesthetic of the client, you might have to, change things a little bit. So always do your own space planning, even if it ends up being the same as before, or it ends up being the same as other people or whoever has done it. Now, for example, here, what the plan that I have, this is a gym plan. So now here, what happens is when we are planning commercial places, so sometimes specifically for gyms, so all the machinery that has to come through, those people also provide different plans. So they'll also provide your client kind of like a plan. Okay, this is how you can put your machines. Now, understand this. If you are a seller, if you are somebody who needs to sell n number of machines, you are going to plan the layout in a certain way that more and more machines can fit in, and you get the most of the money, right? That's their goal. But your goal as a designer, your goal is towards the client. You want a very aesthetically pleasing, comforting, functional gym. You are not going to give them bare minimum. So this is the difference. Even for the builders. Now, if we consider builders who are giving residential plans to so many people, Now, what they will do is they'll put a TV panel, they'll put a bed, they'll put a wardrobe, and they'll call it a day. So 3 furniture pieces and the layout is done for them. But when you are designing it, so if you do not change it in a way that it becomes more interesting or it adds value for your client, you're not doing enough. So create layouts. So first thing you should do is think about what value addition can you do. Yes, it's a bedroom. Yes, it's a master bedroom or it's a kid's bedroom. But what can we do extra? So can I give them a study table? Can I give them a dresser? Do they need another function? Do they need something which is, out of the box? Or can you give them a kind of a creative sitting? So all of that has to happen during your space planning. Always try and building like 2 or 3 layouts, because this is where, so this is a trick. It's a bonus tip for everybody. Now, what happens is when we do 3D designs or when we do elevations, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to build them, to develop them, and share them with the client. And in this case, you cannot actually provide them with multiple options. If you provide them with 5 3D options, they will be over your head to add more options. They'll say, Acha, can you add one more option? Can you change this, add that, and give me another option? That's what is going to happen. So try and do that optional thing during your concept presentation. Once you are developing the concept, once you're doing the space planning, add 2 kinds of furniture layouts for them. Now, what that does is for your client, they'll feel okay. So he has given me 2 options already. So the first meeting, you have given them 2 options. That brings them to this idea, okay, now I have to choose. So that freedom kind of gains confidence for you. Now, if they know they have chosen a certain thing, and then when you put it in 3D or when you put it in drawings, that will be more acceptable. So they'll feel like they've already chosen this option and now you have produced another thing. So they'll have this kind of a feeling that I chose this. Now I should not really change it that much. So it will change, it will work 60% of the time, trust me. So this is something that you can add to your routine. So when you're starting with this, do more space plans. You can do layouts, right? Layouts is something that can be done fast. So we can create 1 bedroom layouts. We can create 4 of them in a matter of 1 hour or 1.5 hours. But if I have to do 3Ds for 4 bedrooms, how much time would that take? So the second part is space planning. This is something which you can use to your own benefit. Then the third element, which is your material and finish selection. Should we give attendance means Google link form attendance for attending this webinar? Okay, Tanya, what happens is if you stay till the end of the webinar, we are going to be providing, so there's a team that we have. They are going to be monitoring how many people stayed till the end, and we are going to be providing you with the recording. So that's something that you will get by the end of it. So attendance is mainly for that. Right? So coming back to material and finish selection. Now, this is the third part. Now, this is also very, very important. In a way, what happens is when you're planning your concept or when you're planning your floor, when you're planning the furniture layout, we tend to already have this idea about how the space is going to look like. So we have to select materials according to the space requirements. Now here, if I say, take the example of this project, which I have showcased here. Now this is a layout that has been given. So the kind of materials that we are looking at for this particular projects are something that looks like this. So there is a textured wall where there is a raw brick texture and we have painted on top of it. Then there are PU stone panels which can be used, or maybe actual stone panels if you want to use it. Now at this moment when you are selecting materials, this is the time when you can actually start thinking about things like, so okay, this is the time when I'm thinking about budget as well. So when you are starting with, let's say, that your client has a certain budget, or even if you don't know it, you should always consider giving them options. So let's say if you are planning a space and it's like your first or second project, Do not go forward and tell the person, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a marble floor, you are going to have brass console, and you are going to have onyx tabletop. All of this is going to be hugely expensive, and it is going to make your project look like this is the first thing you are doing and you have gone overboard. So always consider things like, creating your material selection like in a wave, that you have certain materials which go on top, then you have certain materials where you are going like, what we can do here is we can cut some cost for you. So when you say that using this material this would look good, and this will also cut some cost for you for your first or second project, I would say that is a huge plus for anybody. They'll feel like, okay, so this person is also saving me money. Even if it's a person who has allotted a budget of, let's say, 5 lakhs for a space or 10 lakhs for a space, and you save them 10,000 rupees, that would be such a big deal for them. Even though it is something that, that if you want to achieve a look like this, or you want to achieve a raw texture, it's not that big of a deal. But if you give them that aesthetic and you save some money for them, that would be a very good opportunity for you. And while you are selecting, I'm not saying that for luxury projects you always think of how to save money, but whenever you are choosing things, think of things like, where you are putting some things in one bracket. So these are some expensive materials where you do not want to bow down. So you do not want to, anytime you say, I want a marble floor, I want a marble floor, that is something that I have fixed. But we can save money with this, or we have added this kind of a material for some other aspect. So keep brackets for your material selection. Keep your material selection in layers, where you are thinking, so these are the materials which are fixed, this is not going to change whatsoever. Then there's a layer of materials where you are thinking about, let's say, veneer or laminate. So you have added a material which looks like a wood. So it can be so many options. So there you are giving the client an option to either go for higher end or go for the mid range. So you're giving them an option. And the third one is the negligible part, where you are thinking this is something that we can select on the go, or this is something that we select according to the budget allocation. Maybe you are thinking about the decor items, and maybe you have a very beautiful sculpture in your head that you want to put somewhere. So you can keep that as an optional element for them. Look, by the end of the day, it's their home, it's their space, it's where the client is going to live. Even if we have very high aspirations, wherever you give them choice, that's where you are going to win. So this is a tip that you should, always keep in your head. This is something when I was starting off, or even today when I work with mid budget clients, this is something that helps me a lot. So if I give them this option of, this is something that we do not want to compromise on, these are some things that maybe if you do not have the budget, we can kind of manage. So doing such kind of elements smartly, where you do not you do not degrade your design, you're getting the look that you want to achieve, but at the same time you are making it feasible for the client to achieve that look. So this is the third element, which is material and finish. Then comes your FFE. Now, FFE basically means furniture, fixtures, and equipment specification. Now, as designers, we are required, like as interior designers, we are required to give details about each and everything. It could be like a sofa, it could be, a complete space like a commercial space like a gym or so. You have to give specification for everything. For example, if I am planning, let's say, a classic living room where I want to have those wood carved sofas, I want to have a certain kind of fabric, there's a certain aesthetic in my head. So I need to give the description as well as specification about the furniture. So we as designers, we create those drawings. So be it your false ceiling, be it flooring, even the details for little bit things like your skirtings, things like if you have some kind of a light available, what light, what color of light, what wattage of light. So when you start getting into so much detail, that's when you are going to improve on your projects. So let's say if you're providing somebody a drawing, or you're providing somebody a project specification, there you should mention things like, so there is this Philips 12-watt 4000 Kelvin downlighter, which is available in rectangular or circular shape. So either you can simply say downlight, or you can say this complete specification. So when you say that complete specification, that is what is going to help you. So you are not going to get calls. Now the client knows what exactly is going to happen. Or if you are working with an interior contractor, or you are working, even if you are the execution person, if you have written everything down, if you have specified each and every detail to the T, that you are specifying the brand, you are specifying the wattage, you are specifying the color of the light, you are specifying the shape, that's when you are giving them complete information. That's what we mean when we say furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Let's say for a cafe that you are building, you want to now tell them that there are specific kinds of tables that you want to use. Now, what's the tabletop? What's the table bottom? How is the edge? Is it going to be curved? Is it going to be slanted? Are you going to, provide them with metal legs, wooden legs? If wooden, are they going to be polished or painted? If metallic, are they going to be painted somehow, or you want to keep them as they are, right? So all of those specifications come in now. Now, this is something where, let me tell you, this is the part where your client might not know certain things. They might not understand why are we so worried about this particular color, or this particular, color of the light. But you as a designer, if you have done your concept development well, if you've done your space planning well, this is the part where you need to be very, very specific. You need to be very detail oriented. Otherwise, what you have imagined will not come out same. So this is the phase of designing, or phase of the project, where you need to be the most alert. So this is the part where you actually, the concept that you have built, the drawings you have built, now you're starting to make it a reality. So this is the first step for that. Then comes another very important aspect, which is called budgeting and scheduling. Now, till this period, once we are working with furniture, when we selecting material, so all this time we are kind of finalizing what goes where. Now, at the fifth stage, which is your budgeting and scheduling, we already know. Now, we have created all the drawings where we know, okay, this is the drawing, and I am adding, let's say 250 square feet. That is the part which is going to be painted in so and so paint. Now you know that. Now you know that you are installing, let's say, 50 lights. Now you know that you are installing so and so square footage of tile. So all of those things, like if you are just beginning, this is something that you can do on your Excel sheet. And later on, there are some scheduling softwares that you can use. But I would recommend that if you're just starting off, you can do it on your own. Why am I saying this? Because this brings a lot of practice. So if you start practicing it, and if you start building it on your own, it will give you so much more of the insight of how the space is going to be, or how the budgeting is getting done. So the first thing, like if you can see here, this is a random part of an office. So they have said ABC office. Here you can see pakka brickwork for room, cement, mortar, ratio they have mentioned. Then there is some cement, sand, plaster that's going to happen. Then how thick that is going to be. So that's mentioned here. So your FFE, so all the things that you have, finalized here. So this is what you want. All those things you are going to start writing in your description. Then you will see the quantity. So it could be in square feet, it could be in kg. So everything. Sorry. So all of the things that are written here, you will have to write the quantity, number of them, what's the price in the market, and then the total amount. Now, how we generally do this is we start with the construction part. So if you are starting with somewhat, if you're doing any brickwork, if you're doing any plaster work, civil work, That's something that comes first. So that's how the site is going to evolve. So you're going to start with the civil work, then you will go to the electrical work, then you will do the plumbing, then you'll do the flooring, then comes your ceiling, or maybe ceiling first and then flooring, and later on we start with the walls, and finally the finishing starts to happen. So this budgeting and scheduling, this happens in a way if you start writing things like the first phase is your construction phase. So you write everything that needs to happen in the construction phase along with the prices. So the client knows that this is my phase 1. It's going to take, let's say it's going to take 1 month, and it's going to cost me so and so money. So that's what you are going to build. So that's the first part. Then secondly, let's say you start with other things like electrical and plumbing. So those are the parts that you are going to write down next. So all the elements that you see there could be, so for this, if you are just trying to, start off, you can talk to your electrical vendor, you can talk to your, plumber, and you can figure out the kind of, labor they are charging, the kind of pipes they are going to be using, how much material are they going to require, how many days. So all of those details need to go in your BOQ sheet. Now this is something that could be a very good practice for your own also. Maybe the client is getting all the work done on their own, or you are getting it done for them, or the third case is that you have hired a civil contractor or an interior contractor who's working for you. Now, in all the three cases, if you have this BOQ scheduled and built up, and the client follows that, it will be so easy for them to work. And it will be so easy for you also to realize, okay, the phase 1 has ended. This is the money that we have spent here. Now we have begun phase 2. So we completed phase 1 in 1 month. Second phase we are going to complete in another month. Then we are going to add the finishing phase, which is going to be 3 to 4 months. So in that ways, you are giving them a schedule also. All the big designers in this day, they work in this scenario. So they try to, budget things according to that, schedule things according to that. And the last part is your project management and implementation. Now for project management implementation, again, this can be all the three. It could be like you have an interior contractor, could be yourself, or it could be a person who's doing their own work. So the client might be working for their own project. So at that time, we as designers, once the work has started happening, once the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 starts happening, you need to visit the site, and we need to check if the work is going as per the drawings or not. So all the selections that we have done prior, we need to check if that works on site or not. So you might have seen a lot of videos, people posting swatches and, checking if this works on site, or kind of inventing a new kind of a joint on site. So all of that happens during your last phase, which is your project management. And finally, the last and the final part that happens is your final styling and handover. Now, this is the part where we are thinking about the furnishing. We are thinking about the final finishes, how everything should look like. So maybe you are at the end of your phase 3. This is the time you should understand, like, okay, so this is how I wanted it. This was the imagined 3D drawing, or this was something that we were looking for, and this is what we are creating. And at the end of it, you would say or tell the client, okay, now your site is complete. We have added all the things that we were supposed to. So this is how the complete process works. I hope this was clear enough. Okay, do we have any questions yet? Please discuss about freelancing and how long this meeting is going to. It's going to be till 9:30. So this is a 2-hour webinar. So we started at 7:30 and we'll end at 9:30. Okay, so do we have any questions yet, guys? Anybody else? Okay, so the second most important element, not second actually. Sorry, if there is any question, kindly message on the chat box So that's easier for me to read and answer. So I'll answer all of your questions which are in the chat box. And later on, when we open for Q&A, I'll let you know if you can unmute. Overview of what? Go ahead. Okay. So going back to where I was. How to pitch your work. Okay, you are saying, so whatever we have talked before, can we do an overview? Okay, we can do that later on. After we discuss this, then we can have a complete overview of it. So, how to generally pitch your work? Now, what generally happens in this industry is that we start working you might be working for somebody, you have an internship or you have a job, and you start working for people right after your college ends. And you start creating excellent drawings, 3Ds, whatever. Now, when you start to think about freelancing, all the work that you have been doing, where you are learning things, those are the things that you cannot actually use. Whoever is the designer you are working for, then they'll not allow you to actually take their work somewhere else or show, a lot of things in detail. So that makes you like, now what do you show to a new client? You cannot show somebody else's project to a new client and tell them this is what I have done, because that will be publicly available. So this so and so design team has done this particular cafe, but yes, you were a part of the process, you did all the drawings, you did so much, but that will not be recognized. So in order to pitch your work as a designer, you need to have a very clear idea about what kind of work do you want to get from the market. Let's say if you want to proceed to get work from builders, you want to work with builders and do residential designs. Now in that case, you need to think about the target audience. Now those are the builders. They need to see your work in a way that they feel, okay, this person is efficient, this person can save me money, and this person can give me quick result. So that's something, that's the psyche of a builder. Now let's say you want to pitch your work to cafe owners or people who are starting their new restaurants. Now at that time, you need to think about what is this person thinking. Now for cafe owners, they need to know that you know everything. They need to know that you know this thing, you understand all the technical details. So at that time, when you're pitching your work, you need to show all your technical skills, you need to show all the aesthetics that you understand, you need to show them how well you work with timelines. So depending on the type of client you have, you should think of that particular client and kind of, if you are very keen on working with a particular person, you have to pitch your work accordingly. Now if to a person, let's say you are talking to somebody, a client who's talking to you, and they're very confident that they want to go for a very bold kind of a color scheme, they want to use reds and blues and greens and whatnot, and you show them your work which has a lot of whites and beiges and all of that, immediately you might lose that person's interest. So once you are talking to the client and now they're asking you, can you show me what you have done or what are the projects you have done? So you have to think of things like, maybe you have not done anything like that before. Just talk to them in a way that, I have not done any restaurant. Honesty is your best friend when you are starting off. Let me tell you that. You do not have to lie about anything. Just tell them, just gather knowledge about things. Tell them that you will pitch your work in some time. Let's say it's a restaurant. Now you can gather information about restaurants. You can understand research about restaurants. And then talk to the person. Tell them, okay, so you want to get a restaurant designed? Okay, we can do it for you. Can I understand how many people are you looking to dine? How many people do you want in this space? What kind of cuisine are you serving? What's the menu look like? So once you start asking these questions straightforward, you're going to gain confidence of that person. And at the same time, you can also show them, if there is something that's you're very keen on getting, you want to work with this person, you can quickly create a concept board for them or a sketch or something, that this is something that I feel restaurant design looks like. You can have certain kinds of elements, so we can do this, so that. So very quick ideas. I'm not saying build a presentation for them, but build like a concept board, could be one A3 sheet. So that's something that you can do to, pitch your work at the first go. Guys, somebody's mic is on. Can you mute it, please? Can't find you here. Whoever it is. Okay, found you. Right. So now, okay, so this is one way of doing it, that you understand the query you are getting. Now, let's say you're not getting any query. You have just passed out of your college and now you don't know what to do. So I'll tell you the story of what I did. I had no projects when I, left my college. So I did not know how to show people that I'm good at this, that I know interior design, but I knew softwares, right? So when you are in a design school and you are learning 4 years, you already know a few softwares. So I started creating projects. So I imagined, okay, this is my bedroom, this is currently the bedroom I'm living in, how can I redesign it? So in my own home, if even if you have a 2 BHK apartment or if you have a duplex home, there is so much potential for you to work on. So even if you're not planning to renovate, it takes nothing. We can simply take a measuring tape, measure your own home, and start creating those designs. So I started creating those designs, and those were the designs that I pitched to my clients. So I told them, okay, this is what I have done. This is something that I created for a client. This is how it looks like. I can do the same for you. So that is something which is going to give them confidence. If you tell them, I was working with somebody, I did some work, they will not have that kind of confidence on you. So you need to own it. Whatever project, even if it's an imaginable project which you have imagined and you have created in your college time, maybe you have created a I know that this happens in your design schools, this happens a lot. So they give you an imaginary scenario where you're working with containers, or you're working in a desert, or you're working in a space which has a very beautiful river. So even if it's that, if you create a nice portfolio out of that and show it to people that this is something that I have done for you, we can do this. So you have to be very quick on your feet. So once you get a call, once people kind of get to you, okay, how have you done this? Can I know more? Or how can I take help from you, or how do you work? So at that time, you need to be very quick and you need to realize, okay, this person needs this. How can I show them that I'm good at it? If you really want the job, you need to convince this person in front of you that you are good at this job. At times, I have seen people who have just, finished college and they have taken projects in very beautiful apartments, in maybe, big apartment projects. So how they have done that is simply by having a portfolio or being ready with your work. You need to have a very clear communication. So this is something that I can do. This is how it's going to look like. So also, one thing that you should never, never, never do, it's an advice, a free advice. Do not work for free for anybody. Do not agree for it at any cost. Even if it's a person who's telling you, I'll get you so many projects, I'll do this, I'll do that. The minute you agree that you'll work for free, you are now worthless for them. They will not give you as much importance. Even if you work on their project day and night and you give them the most beautiful designs, they will still feel it's not good enough. Why? Because they've not paid anything for it. So only free webinars are worth it. Nothing else is free, or nothing else is something that people like to do for free. If they're just trying something out, then they will look for free stuff. Now, many of you might want to work in interior design, so you have taken this opportunity. Now, if sometimes what we do, even as clients, you can feel that there's people who have just come to you just to understand, okay, can you do this for me? Okay, are you doing it for free? Aap kar do. They'll say you do it. They'll say you do it, and later on they might not even need your help. They might not even want to do anything, but it will waste your time. So don't do that. That's very mentally exhausting. That also kinds of puts your morale down. You do not want to do that. Instead working for somebody for free, instead imagine a scenario. Take a layout from online, or even you have so many relatives, friends, take their house plan and start redecorating that. You just need to create your portfolio, right? So for the portfolio creation, you do not need any free job. You just need to start looking around and looking for opportunities. So once you start doing that, you are going to be good at pitching your work, right? Okay. Is there any question up until now? To be an interior designer, what is the most important factor? Is it creativity or practicing design? What else is written? Practicing it can improve the ability. Okay. Yes, of course, Arif, to be an interior designer, it is important for you to be creative, of course. But see, there are so many types of interior designers who are working right now in the market. If I talk about the typology, there are people who are very technically sound. So now what they do is they have such good knowledge of materials, they have such good knowledge for how things work, that they create innovation out of that. So that's in a way creative. Then there are designers who are very imaginative or very creative. They create such beautiful designs that people are blown away. So these are the second part. Then come people who believe only on functional aesthetic. So they are working on only based on function. So they're going to give you things like a TV panel which is so simple. It also has storage. It has this, so that it solves the problem. So you can be any one of three. It is not like everybody is working like Zaha Hadid and creating, different kinds of sculptures. That's not everybody's cup of tea. So we can be good at any one thing. It could be that you are very technically sound. It could be that you're very, very creative, or it could also be like you are very functional. You are very, very good at getting things right. Right. So you can do all of that. I hope that answers your question. Arslan, both creativity and practice are essential for becoming a successful designer. Of course. Ma'am, can you tell me which best software for it, which is easy? Okay. To start with, I think you can start working on SketchUp. That's the easiest software for 3D, if that's what you are asking. And to create 2D drawings, like you see on the screen here, these kinds of drawings. For this, we generally use AutoCAD. So these two softwares are the easiest. And this is something which can also lead to much great results. So let's say if you know SketchUp, now you can learn a rendering software like either V-Ray, Lumion, so much is available. So after you're done with SketchUp, you can add on to your layer and have even better results. So that's what you can start with. How much 12th class percentage we have to? Okay, for interior design, see, these days what happens is all the colleges are going to have their own exam. So they have this kind of exam that you have to give, and you have to have a good portfolio. Basically they need to know that you are a creative person, or you are somebody who's smart enough to join. So it's not really about how much percentage, because a lot of people who are not very good students in the 10th or 12th standard, but they still get into interior design because they're creative. So not all creative people are studious. So that's something which is very, very common. Then comes, is Revit architecture good for interior designing with Lumion render? Okay, Revit is a very different kind of a software. Revit is good for architecture, but it kind of is very helpful when it comes to BOQs. So if you have to build bill of quantities, like this part right here. So once you start building on Revit, it's a very smart software. It will start to count everything for you. So that's something which is good, and which is desirable these days. So if you are good with softwares and you think you can learn about Revit, you should do that, because that's something which is upcoming and could be good for you. Otherwise, SketchUp with Lumion is also good. Ma'am, for yes, for every software that we are talking about, for either it's Revit, Lumion, SketchUp, V-Ray, you need to read online what are the specifications, because we need graphic cards in our laptops for this kind of a software. Otherwise, you might need to add another RAM or whatever. So that's something that you need to go through. Ma'am, can you tell me best software, SketchUp or 3ds Max? So this is something which is not a debate. Actually, I feel whatever software you are good at, you are comfortable with. So what happens is, if you are very good with 3ds or if you're very good with SketchUp, you can create whatever kind of renders you want. I know people who create very beautiful renders with SketchUp, and I know people who are very good with 3ds Max. So it's your hold on the software. Um, Walkthrough video. Okay, Navneet, that's something which is a part of, let's say you are trying to create a portfolio, you're trying to show your client something. So this is also that happens within your software. You can create walkthrough videos using 3ds Max, or there are so many other softwares. So we can do that. So it's just a extra added requirement. So you need to learn that within the softwares. Okay, then ma'am, kindly tell us, when client comes first time in our office for interior design project, what kind of questions that I ask, and what kind of questions is need for best interior design project? Okay. Okay, it's a very, very important question. Let me see. The client consultation part. This is what we were discussing earlier also. Now, the most important part. So when a client comes in, let's take an example, right? So first example is, let's say I am a client. So I've come to you and I'm telling you, okay, so tell me, Sagrika, I have a residential apartment that I want to get designed. Can you design it for me? Now, this is all that they have said. Now, you being the designer, you know that you need a lot more information. So you do not need to actually bore them with multiple questions, but ask them the very specific ones. Okay, ma'am, okay, that's a very great thing that you want to get your residential apartment. Can I know how many people live in the house and how many bedrooms do you have? So they'll tell you, okay, I have 3 bedrooms, I have my parents, I have 2 kids, and I live with my husband. So there are 6 people living in a 3 BHK apartment. That's the story. Ma'am, do you have a specific requirement? Do you want to work on a specific style? Do you have anything in mind? No, I do not have anything in mind. That's what you are here for. Now, that's the time when the client has put everything on you. But, whatever you do is not going to be good enough just in the first go. So you need to ask a little bit more questions. Okay, I've understood everything. I understand what you want. But can you just tell me that are you a person who likes to have so many people home? Do you have guests over? And can you also tell me that if you want a kid specific room or a parent specific room? Because I would suggest that, right? So this is something that you can keep asking them. Have a conversation with them. Do not just ask questions. Try and understand what kind of family it is. How do they spend their time? So you're just kind of socializing with the person. Try and not be very casual, but ask them very easy questions which they do not have to think about. Do not ask them, "Aapko what do you want, sliding wardrobes or do you want so and so wardrobes?" They'll get confused. Ask them questions like, okay, so do you have so many guests over? Do you have a lot of space? Can you give me an idea of what's the size? So all of those questions, right? um which software is best for interior walkthrough? Okay, Hunena, so sorry. Actually, I'm not very sure which one is the best one, but I've seen people do a lot of good work with your Corona, Lumion, all of these software. So I'm not sure which is the best one. But I think for all the softwares, my one advice to you is learn that software to the very end. Like, be so quick at it, be so good at it that you do not need to learn more. One software in your laptop, whatever you are working, if you have do not have a very heavy machine, one software can be good enough for you, and you can, learn that to the best. Then Lumion is good. Yeah, Lumion is good. As per Vastu, how to place elements in room. Harsha, that's a whole new webinar. So for Vastu, it's a complete story. I cannot really take this question right now. Okay, so let's just, what's the time right now? Let me see. Okay, so let's just see all the tools that I have here, and then we can take a break for 5 minutes. Then we'll join back for other elements that we need to discuss. Right. Naveen, I will be sharing about online freelancing because let me tell you, I'm an expert in that. I live in Delhi and I work in Jammu. So I have been doing a lot of online projects, which is challenging at times, but also something which is completely feasible. It feels like when you're working in interiors, it feels like that you have to be present all the time. But if you are an interior designer and not an interior contractor, it is completely possible. And that should be the case for most of the times. Right. So, okay, coming to the tools of interior design. So, a lot of you have a lot of questions regarding this. So, I've just mentioned a few of the softwares because, at this moment, if you look online, you have so many softwares. And if you ask me, I know AutoCAD, I know SketchUp, I know Max, I know V-Ray, I know Canva. That's it. So these are the softwares I know. So I've been working, from the last 6 7 years, and just these softwares had been good enough for me. But if you are just starting off and you have the time to learn these softwares, I would say go for Revit, go for Max. So these are, some intense softwares, a little complex, but this is something if you learn or start take an habit from now only, that's something which is going to be good for you. Maybe later on you can create very beautiful renders which are going to be helpful for you to get work, right? And later on, everybody hires people for other things. You as a designer, you as a business person who is running a firm, you cannot do everything. You cannot do drawings, concept, meetings, site visits, and the 3Ds. So at that time, you might have to allocate. But if you are somebody who's very good with the 3Ds, maybe you keep the 3Ds to yourself and you allocate other elements. So it's totally up to you how you want to work it out. Just listing and telling you about a few softwares. There might be people who do not know anything about them. So the first thing is AutoCAD. AutoCAD is the software which is used by the construction industry a lot. Now, this is the software which is widely used. So this is something that you should know. You should know AutoCAD to create your floor plans, detailed drawings, maybe for 3D, but 2D is the main focus for Autodesk AutoCAD. Then comes SketchUp. Now, this is something, if you are like me, not very tech savvy, if you are not like, you do not really like working on softwares, you can start with SketchUp. It's very user friendly. You can, if you are somebody like I have done this, let me like give you this story. So I went on a client meeting. So now I did not know who I was talking to because I talked to somebody and he felt like a person my age. So I told him, okay, I'll build you a presentation. We'll do a presentation in the morning and then we'll finalize the design. Now, when I went to the meeting, I saw that that person was not alone. Now, his 65-year-old dad has joined us. Now, the younger one, he was able to understand my ideas, my sketches, my presentation, but his father was blank. He did not understand or he was not able to visualize how, the space is going to look like. And he was very disappointed. His face looked like, he had so much hope with this presentation, but he was very disappointed because he could not understand. So I told him, okay, please do not worry. So they were very good people. They invited me over for breakfast. We had breakfast, discussed the meeting. So I told him, okay, just give me 6 hours. I'll meet you in the evening and we'll discuss your design again. So just because that client could not understand, I immediately went back to my office, took 3 hours in my laptop, and I created two options for them in the SketchUp. So I already had the concept plan, I already had the project in hand. So I quickly created SketchUp models for them. And trust me, that evening he saw the designs, he was able to understand the 3D, and he said, okay, we are going to finalize this design. You start working from tomorrow, from on site. So this is something why I personally like SketchUp, because it's so easy to do. It's so easy, quick and easy, and quickly can create things. You don't have to worry about a lot of elements. But when it comes to Revit and 3ds Max, these are the kinds of softwares which are very intelligent. They have so much more to offer, but you need to have that much of time, you need to have that much knowledge about these. So if I talk about Revit, it is a very smart software which comes in building information modeling, which means it knows your project. So once you start adding, let's say, walls, it is going to tell you how many bricks or what's the volume of it. So all the elements of your BIM, all the building information you need from the model, it is going to give you that. And this is a very widely used softwares abroad. So when I was in Paris, I saw most of the people working in Revit, because that's something how people work outside India a lot. And now here also in India, we are seeing that there is a boom that people want to work with BIM. So this is something which is upcoming. So we can work on this. Then comes your 3ds Max and V-Ray. Now 3ds Max and V-Ray, even though it's a complicated software, slightly complicated than SketchUp, but it kind of gives you better results. It understands lights better. You do not actually, so this gives you, very photorealistic renders. Even though you can achieve that in SketchUp as well, but in SketchUp you will have to do a lot more to achieve photorealistic renders, versus 3ds Max, where if you know the software, you can create high quality renders easily. Then come your Enscape and Lumion. These are the softwares which are very good for 3D rendering visualization and mainly for walkthroughs. If you want to create walkthroughs, these are the softwares that can work very well for you. You can learn them and you can actually create walkthroughs. Then comes your presentation. Now, the concept presentation part, for that, you can learn all of this. Now, you can see with Pinterest, something is very good with Pinterest is, if you have an image in your head, if you think this is what you want, you can find so many related images. So that is something which is going to help you communicate your design well. Maybe you're looking for some kind of a door, you have that in your head and you do not have an image for it. You can find that on Pinterest. Then Canva is a great tool for creating presentations. The presentation that you see on your screen is done on Canva because it has templates already. Now, if you're an interior designer and you're not a graphic designer, right? So you do not really need to add these elements on your own. All you need to do is you need to showcase your work. So your work is more important than the design of the presentation. So you can simply take a template, add all the elements that you need to, and you can create your Canva presentation. Now, PowerPoint. If you are somebody who does not want to work on the internet, you do not want to create Canva presentations, you can go with PowerPoint. PowerPoint also now has AI integration. So PowerPoint can help you create, let's say you have added 4 things on your PowerPoint presentation. The AI factor in it will help you, kind of create that layout. It gives you options these days. So this is also a very good software for you to work with. Okay, okay. Oh, I see a lot of questions. Do you tell some information about BIM? Again, BIM is a vast topic, guys. I don't want to touch into it because we do not have a lot of time for this today. But maybe the next time we have a webinar on BIM, so we can take that. In case I didn't want the site, someone gave a measurement, how to imagine it. Okay, are you saying that you did not go to site and somebody has given you just the measurements? Now, in that case, first of all, Harsha, you should ask for images. You should ask for videos, that please share some videos of the site. Please share some other information, because just with the layout, it is not going to work out. You need to explain it to the client that you are asking for all of these things for their own benefit. You can tell them that, sir, maybe there is a window on site, maybe there is a door on site that I do not know about, maybe there is some kind of a structural element on site, so I need to see all of that to give you the best advice. So please share images, please share videos. Then, okay, my client sent me pictures for reference after designing his exteriors or renders. Said this is not the picture I sent you. Replied said it was just a reference, I think. He replied no, copy paste, and I told him that elevation. Okay, okay. Okay, see. Uh, Hunena, this happens. See, this happens to the best of us. Now, the clients have access to so much data online. All of you here, if you start your own practice, you will start posting online, right? You will have a website, you will start posting your work online. So, there is so much data available for you to see and pick. Now, maybe people are asking you to do a certain thing. They're telling you, okay, this is something that you need to copy and paste. Could be this has happened to me, and at times I have copied things for them because it's something that people get stuck onto, and ultimately by the end of the day you want to just get paid with these kinds of clients. So first of all, try to convince them that this is not something which is going to work. If they do not agree, try and do it for them just the way they want it, or else, best advice, leave that client. Tell them that this is not going to work out, our energy is not matching. Tell them that you are paying me money to bring you something new, why would I copy it? Or maybe there is some element that they like, maybe there is a texture that they like. You can tell them that what we can do is we can take this part from this elevation and we can build it further. Or maybe you can also ask them, like, what is it that you extremely like about this picture? Tell me that one element, so then you can try and incorporate that. Because this is something which is very very common. This happens, people, like for interiors it's even more common. People go to some other person's home, they click a picture and they say this is what I want. So in that case, you as a designer will not have a lot of say because it's already been given to you. So try and convince them, but there is no right answer to this. AutoCAD, SketchUp, and Lumion, is this software combination best, or any other combination? Please suggest. AutoCAD, SketchUp, Lumion is a very good combination. If you know AutoCAD, then you work on SketchUp and then you create walkthroughs on Lumion. I think you can come up with very good solutions. Uh, Okay, AI is booming. Everyone creates their own design. Then what about designers in future, like freelancers? Okay, Harsha, the thing is that yeah, AI is here and they are doing great stuff. They have added so many softwares which you are going to be using. So we need to make AI our best friend. So let's say now you're making presentations, you can do that with AI. Maybe you're creating concepts. People ask for options, right? They ask for so many options. If people knew, like, think about it in a very practical way. If the clients knew what exactly they want, they would not hire you, right? And for AI to work that ways for them, for the AI to work tremendously well for them, they need to give them the exact command. Now, if you write in AI, please design this room for me, it's not going to do it. You need to tell AI that this is my room, this is the style I want, this is the kind of furniture I want, this is the color scheme I want, this is how I want it to look. Then it will create an image for you. So, AI is data based. So maybe at a point, you and I are the people who are feeding this data to AI to generate images. That could be a thing. But if people had so much time, energy, and sensibility in terms of design to create elements online, they would have done it. It's not going to happen. It cannot take over our job because people are lazy. Interior designers exist because people are lazy and they do not want to do everything on their own. And with AI, even with AI, they will have to put in a lot of effort. So that's something that, people will not be doing. Okay. How to charge our design charges? I just started my career in this field. That's a very good question. So, see, I always tell people that you are charging for your time, right? Whatever, let's say you have a project which tells you that you have to create a 2 BHK apartment. Think about how much time is it going to take you. Let's say now you imagine that there's a 2 BHK apartment, it will take me 2 days. Let's take 48 hours. Okay. So 48 hours is the time that you are going to take to do this apartment. Now, think about all the things that you do during the day, or think of a monthly expense. Let's say your monthly expense is 50,000 rupees, including everything. So you include the rent, you include electricity, you include food, you include everything in terms of your lifestyle, and you take an amount. So with that, you can build a tentative relationship that if you need 50,000 rupees in 30 days, how much money do you need per day? And with those 2 days, you are, let's say now, if you need let's say 30, let's make the math easier because I don't want to do the calculation. So 30,000 30 days, which means 2 days means 2,000 rupees. Now you charge 3 times of that, because see, now you need to earn money also. No, you are just not doing this to just get your price. So if you're just starting off, you can think that I at least need 2,000 rupees per room. That's the base point. And if you look in the market, you will see people charging 25,000, 30,000, or 50,000 per room as well. So you need to think of how much you need the project, how much is it going to be good enough for you. So let's say it's not 30, you're spending 1 lakh a month. So the game changes completely. So you have to think about all of your expenses and, put pitch in your price. It is nothing which is right or wrong in this profession. There are people who are charging crores for projects. So there is no right and wrong answer. You need to be satisfied with the amount that you are getting. So you need to put the price on your time, your 2 days. How much money should you get for building your, giving in your 2 days, or giving in your 15 days, right? So that's something that you should do. Then comes, okay. Ma'am, please tell us how to earn client. What's the key of freelancing online? You need to have a kind, when you are working with, interiors, you need to have a portfolio. The first thing which is going to get you clients is what work you have done, because it's a high value thing. So if somebody is investing in you, if they are hiring you to get kind of some work done, they're investing lakhs of money. It's not about thousands. So they need to trust you about that. So if you need to get a project, you need to pitch it correctly first, and then you need to have a portfolio. You need to have something to show them. Even if you have not done any prior projects, as I said earlier also, build an imaginative portfolio so that you can show them the work. You can also have, these days Instagram pages are so common. You can also have a page on Pinterest. You can start posting photos on that. You can start posting photos on you can create a Google business and add pictures on that. Because us, we are visual creators, we need to show our work to get more work. So that's the most important element. But in that design charges, what we provide, how much design, floor plan, uh, but in that design charges, what we provide and how much design, like floor plan, 3D views. Okay. um okay, give me an example. Give me an example of what project do you have. So I'll simplify it for you. Because see, this is something, if you're just starting off, people will not agree to anything. Whatever price you tell them, they'll say ye to zyada hai, this is too much, I'm not going to pay that much. But you have to be very careful about, if you are charging 5,000 rupees for one bedroom, if you are charging 15,000 rupees for one bedroom, you have to be very confident about that, that you need that money for that job. Example, like a 2 BHK. Okay, let's say a 2 BHK. That means you have to design a kitchen, you have to design a hall, you have to design two bedrooms with washrooms. That's the complete gist of it, right? So five spaces. So generally, people charge per square feet also. So you can see for commercial spaces what square foot charges are going on in the market. Let's say commercially people are charging 300 rupees per square feet. Now, if you are just beginning, you can say I can charge 100 or I can charge 50. So depending on how much you are comfortable at, charge that amount. If you're talking about 2 BHK space, think about things like, okay, I have to do so and so bedrooms. So this is going to take that much time. Maybe I can charge 10,000 rupees per bedroom or per space. So you can, you have to figure out a pattern for you. So create a setup. You can create. So when I started thinking like, you have to design a bedroom. Okay, I can take 10,000 for this bedroom. So if I'm designing a lobby, it's a bigger space. Maybe I can take 15 for that. So I designed a list for my own self, for me to, kind of check if this is working for me or not. And when it comes to commercial design, it becomes a little bit more like, you start with square footage. So you should see how many square foots are there. So if let's say it's a 250 square foot space, you can think of things like, okay, do I need somewhere 30 to 40,000 rupees, or do I need to have more money to complete this? How many days it's going to take? How many site visits am I going to plan? How much money does it take from me? How much money do I have to spend on this project? Because you also have to go on site, you have to think of the commute, you have to think about maybe you are getting measurements done, maybe you're getting 3Ds made from somebody else. So you have to kind of take that into consideration. So like when I started working, I was doing everything on my own. So I could just quote a price, I could negotiate. But now I have a team. I have people who work for me for 3Ds. So I need to think of, okay, I need to pay this person this much. So that's the premium that I need now. So it's not, guys, there's no rule book for how much you should charge. You must charge your worth. You think that this is something, I'm giving them such a good design, and I'm giving them such great renders, I'm giving them such detailed drawings, I should get this money. So you just need to have that confidence. I just heard a couple of days back that a person who's a big name in the design industry, they are charging, you can say, I think, 10% of the project cost. So think of a project which is 5 crore project, and they are charging 10% of that. So, it's a lot of money. So this is the good and the bad thing about interior designing. You can be charging as much as you want. There's no cap. There's no cap even from the government that this is how much you should charge. So you can figure it out on your own. How much money do you need? Okay, I think we have not taken any break yet, but we have so much to cover. So moving on. Now, this is something which is very, very important, and this is something which is not really focused a lot on: networking and professional development. Now, you might know that if you are a student in a architecture school, design school, they take you to a lot of exhibitions, museums, and whatnot, right? So they tell you that there's a site visit, you have to go so and so, you have to go to Lal Killa, you have to go to a certain museum, you have to go here and there, and all of that. And it feels like, there's a field trip, we're going to have fun. But that's the time which is the most important for you. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a freelancer, this is something that you should do more and more often. And let me tell you a secret of my own. So previously, in the last 1 year, I started going to a lot of events. I started joining so many organizations. And trust me, my business grew like nothing. It was like, if I was meeting somebody new, they knew, okay, this is Sagrika, okay, you are an interior designer. They would tell that to 2 or 4 more people. That ways, I built an identity all across the area I was working at. So that made me more visible. So first thing is that you should attend all the industry events. If I talk about India, we have so many beautiful events like FOID. There is a India Design. There is ARC. What's that exhibition called? I forgot. There are craft fairs. There is so much that happens. There are so many exhibitions that happen every month. If I talk about big cities like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, now even in the small cities, now I come from Jammu, which is a very small city. There we also had so many events coming up. We had exhibitions. So even if it is a small exhibition, even if you are going to find 5 vendors there, just go there. Now what that does, it that makes your face recognizable. Now when you go to a trade show, you go to an industry event, there are people who are working in the same industry. They start to understand and know that this person exists. That's all you need. If you start to be this person who is seen, or people know you, they are going to start trusting you. Then join professional organizations. Now what are professional organizations? There are so many things available these days. There are so many groups online that you can join. There are even specific groups for women. There are groups for entrepreneurs. There are groups for startup owners. So you should join those groups. It could be like a fee that you have to pay for a year or whatever. Pay that. Pay that fees. That's for your own benefit. If you start attending these organizations meetings, you start meeting new people. First of all, you will understand a lot about how business works, because business, if you are a business person, you will have to have a referral network. You will have to have people who vouch for you. Let's say 3 people are standing. Now, this person knows me and he's not my friend. And there is a third person standing right next to us. Now, that third person is interested in my work. Now, if this person who's not my friend, not my relative, says that that Sagrika does a very nice job. She is very good with her work. Now that third person will have that trust on you. Why? Because it is not coming from a relative or a friend, because friends and relatives can be biased, right? But another business owner who has nothing to do with you otherwise, if they are praising you, if they're talking about you, it makes you important. So that's why professional organizations work magically. Then comes your social media. When you are working on social media, you're trying to build a network. First of all, be active on LinkedIn. Uh, Follow all the big leaders, all the startup owners, all the people who are doing good in this industry. Try and converse with them, try and be in touch with them, because trust me, this is something that happens. There are people who follow these huge designers, but they do not have the budget for those designers. So if you are in the comment section, or if you are somewhere around them, you will be visible to those people who follow those big firms. So this is a kind of a strategy that helps you be seen. Now, this is a secret, you can say, of social media. All you have to do is comment on all the good things you see, engage with the kind of content you like, right? Now, the other audience which likes that content is also your clientele, is also your potential clientele. So they might discover you online. So that's something that you should do. Then workshops and classes. It's a very good, everybody should clap for themselves for joining today's webinar, because you should always join any workshop you find, any local class you find, because here also I can see in the chat box, people are conversing with each other, right? So they're asking each other also questions, which is what makes it, you'll gain more confidence. You will see that there are so many people in the same boat, right? There are so many people who are trying to figure same things, so you're not alone. So these are the kinds of things you need when you're working or when you're starting working. Then collaborate with local businesses. Now this is something which is very common. Now what happens is, when you go to industry events, when you go to trade shows, One thing that you should always do if you want to be an entrepreneur, have a visiting card. Have a visiting card with you everywhere you go. Wherever you see people, like, you see, you go to a trade show and you see a person who's giving you the ideas about those. This is the furniture we sell. This is the artwork we sell. This is the rugs that we sell. Give them your card. Connect with them. Maybe in future you get an opportunity to collaborate with them. Maybe they're working on a project. You buy one of their products. You make, you are useful to them. Otherwise they are also going to do the same for you. So this is the industry where it goes both ways. Maybe you have a vendor who works very well for you, and then you work for the vendor. So it works vice versa. I have worked with a modular kitchen industry for 1.5 years. So what happened was, I took their services once, and then they liked that I was a good person to collaborate with. So after that, for a year, I took a lot of their projects. So it was their execution, my design. So I was getting work, they were getting all the kinds of drawings and inputs they needed. So they did not have to think about, if a person, let's say a person came to them saying that I want so and so kitchen. Now as a vendor, they will have to think about, what design should I give them, which it is not necessary for them. But for me, I get paid for that. So I can design the kitchen and they can simply execute that. Look for such collaborations. These are the kinds of collaboration, even the smallest of them can be big for you. So, there is a lot of scope in networking. Always, if you are in your third year, if you're in your first year, if you have just finished college, always keep this in your head. Networking is your bread and butter. It is going to help you do everything in this field. So if you want to be a business person in interior design, you need to have a great network. So I come from a family where there was no connection to interiors. There was no people who were working in this industry. So my father is a business owner who works with fruits and vegetables. So it's completely north south pole apart. So I had to build that network for myself. So doing that is just with all of this, you have to be very good with communication. So if you are not, if you're shy, if you feel like you cannot talk to a lot of people, attend workshops, go to places where you might not have to speak a lot, but you get to observe a lot. When you start doing that, dheere dheere you will get the gist of it. Slowly and steadily you will find your standing there, you'll be able to talk to other people. So this is something which is very important, no questions asked. Okay, we have more people. Ma'am, people have very less exposure in interiors. They don't hire interior designer directly. They go to contractors. How do we attract clients so that many people will come to you? Okay. Oh yeah, Ace Tech. Thank you, Vishali. That was what I was forgetting. So people have very less exposure in interiors. Okay. See, that happens. That happens in every industry. So you might be a person who's selling very beautiful saris, let's say, right? But then there are people who are going to go to boutiques, they're going to buy a cloth and they're going to say, you can make this into a sari, you can make this into a blouse and do this for me. So you do not want to attract those clients. Trust me, you don't. You only want to attract those clients who understand your worth. So try and network with people who you think are, at par of what your clientele should be. I know it's very hard when you just starting off. You feel like koi bhi aaya, whoever it is, whoever is coming to me, whoever is trying to talk to me, I should make him my client. That's the ideology, but that should not be it. Look for quality clients. Look for people who you think are worth it, right? And then try and pitch your work to them. Okay. Okay, I think we have mentioned. Okay, how we connect architect firms for learning and understanding market trends. See, then they're not going to give you everything just like that. You will have to go and do an internship under architect firms if you want to understand markets and trends. So if you know a good, I would suggest, if you're looking for internships, go for smaller firms. So if you have a small design studio somewhere that you can apply to, There you will get more exposure to market and trends. If you go work for a very big company, they are not going to give you a lot of work to do in terms of understanding the market. But you can do very well if you start working with a small company who is just starting off, or a mid-range company. That's something that you do. As a freelancer and fresher to the field of designer, to understand the design and how to satisfy the client, how to update in this field. Autodesk, SketchUp, CS Mac, this software is bad. Okay. As a freelancer, okay. Hmm. To satisfy the client. That's okay, that's our job. But how to do that is, just see, imagine whenever you are working with a client, imagine that that person is going through a lot right now. Now that person is spending a lot of money. If it comes to residential design, they might be spending the lifetime earnings, or they might be spending a lot of money that they have been saving. So they are very particular about that. You need to show that much sensitivity towards their project. You need to be as serious as they are. So I have seen clients who do not mean bad, but they do not like design sometimes. They're like, no, I don't want this, I don't want that. Can we change it? So be a little bit flexible, kind of connect with them. Try and understand what they are coming from, what's their story. So how do they want this house? Is this their dream house? Is this a house that they have to buy? Or this is a house that, they want to put all their money in? So you need to understand those things. And once you understand that and you start building the design with that sensitivity, trust me, you will be able to satisfy your clients with your designs. So that's my advice. There is no right or wrong answer to this. Okay. So before we go to the final segment, what I want for you to also look at is, so at Augmintech, we are providing, a lot of you are asking about softwares. So let me just share something with you. I hope the session is fruitful for you up until now. You are understanding what we are talking about, and this is something you feel is useful. Just give me a thumbs up if you think this is useful and you can use a lot of this in your future work. Okay, so just sharing my screen once more with you all. Okay, so I'm just going to take 5 minutes for this, and then we'll start with the question answers again. And I have a lot more of the presentation that we need to cover. So stay tuned, please. Okay, so at Augmintech, we are offering this Google SketchUp course where we are talking about the different overviews of SketchUp, how you can model different elements. So there are many things available here. So you can see the different elements which are here in the course curriculum. This is, I'm going to put the link of the website right here so that you can, simultaneously visit. So this is the site. Oh, sorry, I think I sent a direct message to somebody. Okay, so this is the complete course that you can see. As you can see on here, we have 15,000 rupees as the price. This is the course. But since you all are in the webinar, we will have a special price for you all. I'll be sharing the link with you all for payment. So if you do that within an hour, that will be the cost for you. Otherwise, the link will expire and you will receive this price only. So what we have in the Google SketchUp is, so I have designed this course. I am the mentor who teaches this course. And what happens here is, we are only talking about SketchUp in interior design. So whatever we do here, that finally comes back to interior design. So if you are starting with SketchUp, what are the different tools? What are the editing tools? How you can actually navigate? So all of those things. Then to create basic 3D models, how you can, actually create furniture pieces, how you can create rooms. I hope the screen is completely visible to you all. Okay. So you can see all of these elements, how to create groups, components. So there's so much within SketchUp that we are going to do, but all of the material will be based on specifically interior design. Then some advanced modeling techniques. Again, if there are some elements that you might not have heard of, so how to add layers in SketchUp, how to create dynamic components. So it's a very interesting topic that you can see later on if you do it. Then we also have a part where we teach about SketchUp for architecture. So here, architectural elements, basically we are talking about doors, windows, stairs, all of that. So ultimately not extremely architecture, but as I said, we are talking more about your interiors. Then here, if you are somebody who is just starting off and you just want to learn one software, here we are also teaching layout, which helps you create presentation files for your drawings. So if you do not want to go with AutoCAD, if you do not want to go with any other software, you do not know presentations, Canva, all of that, you can learn this. So layout is going to help you create your presentation drawings. Then there is a specific part for interior design. Here we will also, so this is not just that we are learning SketchUp, we are also doing the space planning. So we'll plan the space, we will select the materials. So in a way, I'll also be teaching you how we choose certain elements. So that's something. Then there's a short part about plantation videos. So if you have something which you want to create an exterior for, we can do that. And finally, we have one complete residential project that we do. So from starting to the end, we will see how the space turns out. And here we are not rendering anything. We are just using SketchUp to create that render for you. And trust me, it's something that will be very helpful for you if you're just starting off. And then there is a certificate for you, of course. So this is something that you will get. So yeah, rest everything I can see. I think you can figure out on your own. You can see what all do we have here. I'm not going to take a lot of the time here. Just going to share the links with you all for the payment. So there are two links that I'll be sharing. One is for the people who are in India, so that will be in INR, and then it is for the people who are abroad, so that's in USD. So for today, just because you have joined this webinar and very attentively been here, so we are giving you this course in 4999. So you can see to it. If you want to take the course, you can follow the link and do the payment within the next 1 hour. So just sharing the link and then we'll get back to work. Until then, please just keep writing all your questions. So we are reaching the last segment. So we have some time where we can take a lot of questions. So you can keep adding your questions on the chat box. So this is the INR link, and the other one is my payment link for US dollars. So I'm adding both of these here. Okay, so now I'll share the screen again. So time has really slipped through our hands. Okay, now I'm going to quickly take you over to other parts, which is like what are the different career paths that you can take in interior designing. So, okay. First of all, this is not something which is, if you want to be very specific, if you are somebody who's interested in just residences, you want to create beautiful bedrooms, living rooms, you are fond of those kinds of things, you can work as a residential interior designer. And one bonus tip here would be that you can be working with a lot of builders. You can collaborate with them and do just residential designs. If you have a friend, relative, or somebody who is a builder, you can talk to them and immediately start working with them for creating their renders, their base plans. And initially they might not give you a lot of money, but if you start adding those projects in your portfolio, see what happens with builders is that that this project is going to get built. So this is the end product that you are doing. So even if you do one show flat for them, that become part of your portfolio. So that's a very good start if you want to be a residential interior designer. Then comes the second aspect, which is a commercial interior designer. So hi, I am a commercial interior designer. So here you can work with places like offices, hotels, retail stores, restaurants, hospitals. So all of those things come under your commercial interior design. can I get this recorded video? Yes, you will add, you will get the recorded video if you have been here for the 2 hours. Can I start my course after 10? This is a pre-recorded course, guys. So it is totally up to you. When do you want to watch the videos? Whenever. So you are going to get the access to videos for a long, long time. I'm not sure how many days it is, but I know it's more than, sorry, just a moment. I know it's more than a year. So you will get a lot of things there. You can just buy this and work on it on your own. Webinar certificate, again, you need to the WhatsApp group where you have this WhatsApp link for your webinar. There you will have to write down your email and tell people that you need your certificate. So they'll verify from the recording. If you have been here throughout, they will send you a certificate. So basically, we do not want to send certificates to people who have just attended like 10 minutes of the webinar. So if you have attended enough of the webinar, the link will be shared with you. Next webinar, I think we have it after Diwali. So second week of November, I guess. We'll share the details with you on the same group that you are on right now. Okay. Anyone working for good company, architect, job, Prem, if you are looking for openings, a very good place to look for it is LinkedIn. Please go on LinkedIn and search for jobs there. Very serious people post job openings there. Right. Okay. Anyone about BM tool? Sorry, I did not understand this question. Can you please rephrase? Okay, so till the time we have more questions, I'm going back to the career paths. So then comes your commercial interior design. Now here, you can ask me like, Sagrika, how can I start becoming an commercial interior designer? Now for commercial spaces, it's really hard to get a project that ways. But if you know somebody who's starting off a cafe, or if you you can get in touch with small food outlet chains. So I myself, I work with a brand called Fun Bites. It's a very small fast food chain in North India. So initially, I worked for them for just one project of theirs. There was just one small cafe. So after that, I've been working. I think I've done more than 10 projects just for them. So this is something that you can start off. You can, actually email people who you think have chains of restaurants or chains of a specific retail store, or you can, figure that out where you can find such people, and you can try and pitch them your work. Then comes the next part, which is hospitality. Now hospitality is something which is very, very here the budgets are very, very high. So what happens is, for this kind of speciality, you need to have certain kinds of experience in the market, because nobody is going to give you a 500 crore project without experience. So this is something that you can aim for. You can start working with this, and if you want to be a hospitality designer someday, even from the day one, your renders, your work needs to be very precise, very defined, very something which is sellable, so you can sell this, or you can have people living here. So this is something that you should do. Then comes another part, which is set designer. Now, these kinds of set designers are the people who kind of work for movie industry, they work for serials, and also this is something which is very popular these days. Even the influencers, even the makeup artists, they need sets for their workshops. They need sets for so many things. So product shoots. So this is something, if you are somebody who's not very good with technical aspects, and you are somebody who thinks that, I don't want to create spaces which live long. You just want to create quick, beautiful spaces and move on to the next one. This is the place for you to be. Then comes exhibition designer. This is similar to set design, but here we are talking about trade shows, we are talking about design shows, we are talking about small workshops and all of that, where people create these kinds of kiosks. So this is something that you can work on. Next becomes your furniture designer. There are so many people in the industry who started as interior designers and now are famous for their furniture, because when you start working as interior designers, you gain so much knowledge about what works in what space. You can start creating your own designs, and you can actually work with furniture very delicately. So if you are something who's very fond of these things, you can work on furniture designing. Okay, I think we have questions. uh, we have, ma'am, can you add a webinar to basic of rendering? Monica, will have that. Actually, we have planned webinars in such a way that we started with, introduction, basics, and later on we'll move to complex ones, because we have a lot of target audience, which is more into the introductory part. So let's see, but there's a future for this. We'll do this also. We have need to sketch a plugin for bend staircase. See, Akarshdeep, there are so many plugins in SketchUp that you can use, but I would say if you're just starting off, there is so much potential in just SketchUp. Without plugins also, you can do so much. So first, when you understand that, then you can start adding plugins and you can go to the complex element. Prashant, I'm sorry, I'm not able to understand your question. Bhagyashri, can I speak with you personally? Bhagyashri, you can request that on the group. So they might, if it is about the what is this? It is about the webinar, or if it's about the course, they might put you in touch with somebody. You can tell them that. Then comes, I had missed half an hour. Will I get the certificate? Dilip, do not worry. It's not very hard and fast, but it's just that we do not want to just throw away the certificates for the non-serious people. So we will be providing certificates to most of you. I see we started with 65 people. We still have 51 here. So that means these 51 are going to get the certificate at any cost. I think it's some other language only. Okay, furniture. Then comes the next part, which is your interior stylists. Now, being a stylist is a very different kind of a job. Here, what we are doing is we are working with photographers, we are working with, branding people, and we are trying to create sets in a way that we are decorating. So we are not actually creating spaces, we are decorating, accessorizing, and adding furnishing to the spaces. So if you are into this, you can start working as an interior stylist. Here you can have, there is a great opportunity these days for interior stylists, because there are so many product shoots happening, there are so many concept shoots happening, there are so many fashion shoots that happen which require interior stylists. So you can explore this direction also if this is something that you are interested in. Then comes being a project manager. If you are somebody who knows a lot about working on the site, you understand execution, you understand how much material has come in, you are very good with math and all of that, you can become a project manager, and you can deal with the client and designers. You can be the middleman here. This is big in abroad, this is big in outside India. Project managers are earning so much money, and even in India, the big firms, they hire project managers and they give you one project that you need to look after. So this is a great opportunity. If you feel that you're not creative enough but you want to be in this industry, then you can be a project manager, and you can get all the perks of being in the design industry, and still you do not have to do any drawings, you do not have to actually create things, you have to just manage things, which is a very good opportunity. Then becomes lighting designer. So these are the people who actually work just with the lighting. So let's say I, as a designer, I've designed a certain space. Now the lighting designer, this person will come in and they will tell me how many lights do I need, how many how much wattage do I need. So if you're somebody who's good with the technical knowledge of fixtures, you are good with understanding light, you are good with understanding various heats and temperatures, or you are interested in this, you can be a lighting designer. Then last but not the least, you can be an interior design educator. Now this is something which I have taken, which is like, maybe you are somebody who's very good communication, who has a very good communication skill set, and you are good with talking to people. You are good with making them understand whatever you know. So you do not have to be somebody who knows it all. Now I do not know everything, but I can be a design educator. Why? Because I have an interest in this, and I can talk to people and tell them whatever I have learned with experience. So you can do this as a educator. Okay, I think I've already told you this, that recording of the webinar will be shared. And finally, okay, so all the career options that you have seen, you can do it all if you are a freelance interior designer. Because you can take any kind of project that you want, and you can explore certain things. For 6 years I've done so many residential projects, and now I have realized that I do not want to do residential. I want to work as a commercial designer. So I have a lot of experience in residential, but I can take that experience and go in some other direction. So you can start with freelancing and then move on to other things, right? Okay. Mm, last time I will miss webinar in mid due to. No, it's okay, Kashti. We'll see to it. You can mention that on the group and they'll send you the certificate. Nida, I think there's a problem with your mic or speaker. Ma'am, I'm in India. How to get abroad? Good company, and I'm a fresher, but I know AutoCAD. Prem, you can actually build a portfolio, build a nice portfolio for you, show all the skills in the portfolio, and try and email people who are offering jobs outside India. And you can try getting internships first, because nobody is going to offer you a very good job if it's just a fresher job, unless you have an exceptionally good portfolio. So you can try for internships first, and then you can move on to the job. Okay, great. So I think Sandeep has shared discount links with you all, and they have also shared the WhatsApp number where you can check all the, if you have any assist questions regarding this, you can ask them. Uh, so I hope you had a good time or you learned a thing or two. I would love to hear from you the feedback. So you can write a nice feedback or a bad feedback, whatever you have, on the chat box, and you can leave the meeting. So I'll stop sharing the screen and we'll end the meeting in 2-3 minutes. So you can mention the feedback, and I can take one more question if anybody has one question. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, superb. It was very nice interacting with you all. I was very happy to actually have an audience who, conversed with me and had a very active participation. So very proud of you all. I hope you do very well with whatever field you select. And if you're starting with interior design, all the very best. It's a very, very amazing job that you are going to get. And okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So thank you very much, everybody. Guys, please don't be like unsure. It is all about, we have shared the WhatsApp number with you. Certificates will be given to everybody who was in the webinar. It will be shared with you. Right now we cannot share it. So after the webinar gets over, our team will see whoever was in the webinar for the longest of time. You will receive all your certificates. So the email IDs that you have logged in for, those can be used. Also, if you have mentioned the email here, our team will see to it that the email ID has been given. So they will do the needful. And in case if you do not receive the certificate, this is the number. I am sending it on the chat again. You can WhatsApp on this with your email ID in case it gets missed. Thank you. I'll see you in the next webinar. Thank you so much.